Good day, everyone. This is Pineleaf Needles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and here at DDO Players. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Draculetta.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope everybody had a safe and happy Labor Day, at least those here in the States at least.
And I was just wondering,
Okay.
I know it's obvious by your motif and stuff like this, but when I look at the name Draculetta, one could think of that instead of thinking of vampire, one might have thought of female dragon or small dragon.
Okay, that one's a new one on me then. I've never
Because,
heard that. Usually people automatically think vampire, but okay.
well, yes, but you gotta remember is that literally Dracu means dragon.
Dracu means dragon, that is true, because Dracula
Right.
was the son of the dragon, so yes.
Right. Dracula was son of the dragon. Right. So Draculetta, I was thinking maybe, well, daughter of the dragon or little dragon or something like that.
That's the new one. I have never heard that. It's
Yeah.
awesome though. I've never heard it.
Yeah. In DDO terms, then that might be half dragon or dragon mark or something like that,
That's right.
maybe.
Dragonborn. I like it.
Dragonborn! Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I was thinking of
yeah, it's not
Skyrim.
Skyrim. You can say it's not Skyrim, Pineleaf. Not
Okay.
Skyrim.
Let's head into our game news, or at least we would if we really had any. But we do have a post talking about hirelings and levers, and I presume hirelings are handling levers perfectly?
Not according to some players, no. There was a post in the forum. Actually, it was entitled, Can't Skeletal Knights Pull Levers? There was a player that was having some issues with his skeletal knight. He ordered him to stay, ordered him to pull the lever for him. He wouldn't pull it. And then a couple other people reported, yeah, my hireling that wasn't a skeletal knight is not pulling levels well either. So Varguil stepped in and said they have been trying to recreate this in-house and they're not being able to recreate it consistently. Every time some of the problems people have been having, the main thing that they are seeing is they have seen some pathing issues where the hirelings, including pets of all varieties, will sometimes have trouble pathing and fail once or a few times trying to pull the lever, but then they will eventually end up actually being able to pull the lever, so it seems like it's just a pathing issue.
Isn't that what happened when we were doing that quest together?
Yes, that's
in Giant Hold,
yes.
which
Yep, because it was the one where when you use the rune, the room changes and there's monsters that you attack, so we were both in the room and I had the hireling outside doing the rune. That one is the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, and that did happen a couple times. I had to order the hireling to hit the rune a couple times before it worked. So
right.
So they said they are seeing that. But if you're seeing actually other things and your hireling's not being able to consistently interact with something, to go ahead and submit a bug report. And it is also very helpful in your bug report if you give them your character name and your specific spot or like a specific ladder or a specific lever in the quest that is not working. Further on in the thread, there was a couple people that were still saying they had problems, and a few of them were talking about the same specific quest. So Varguil chimed in again, and he says, okay, the reports listed here seem to be particular instances and locations where the hirelings sometimes have problems, but probably, he's thinking, it's with the pathing in the particular area. He says there may be some general changes they can try to make hirelings a little more consistent, but it sounds like most of the time the hirelings are in fact able to actually interact with the item, and it's still coming back to that pathing issue. So they are going to look at it, and he wrapped up the thread by saying, but for bugs like these, it certainly seems like there's no quote-unquote in general way for them to fix it. Because each location is different, but he really thinks it seems like it's just a general pathing issue. And they are going to take a look at that. So hopefully if you do use your hirelings to, interact with items or pull, levers or interact with runes, that it should be getting a little better as the devs are going to take a look at that.
All right, we'll have to see. I hope that doesn't mean we're going to start seeing circling question marks over their heads. And it looks like that we have a response to some questions concerning the new store, and it looks like Cordovan posted saying that yes, the new store is coming. They are still working on it, and they're getting pretty close, but they're not yet ready for an official announcement. Well, hopefully, though, we'll see if something could come in this next week. But yes, they're still working on it. I think part of the new store thing is probably going to be coming hand in hand with the whole thing with the, I don't know, is it going to be related to the hardware changes, trying to wait for the hardware changes, or are they trying to get the store in first?
Coming from an IT perspective, I would say, yeah, they're probably going to wait for the server moves, or the data center moves, I should say, not just server moves, but the data center move before they would put up the new store, I would think. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that is what it is. Just as my general background is in IT, that would make the most sense for me, because I wouldn't see them implementing this and then having to take it down and move it to a different location in their new data center. So,
ooh, speaking of the new I just remember concerning the data center is that I know in Lotro at least they're planning to use the test server to move that first for some testing. So it's possible the next Lamania might be at the new data center.
It could be, I would think.
Because they were planning on doing some of that stuff in September.
Right. That very well could be. I mean, that would make sense to move both of them at the same time. Just depends what Turbine's IT people are thinking, I guess.
So now let's head into the DDO Chronicle, issue 157.
We have The Ladder. This is a new 30-week competition that is put together by a player named Silverleafon. Basically what it is each Wednesday a new dungeon or a raid will be announced. And you have to run that dungeon and our raid, and there is specific ways that you score yourself for that. You report your score, and then after the end of the 30 weeks, they will tally up all the scores, and there's going to be some prizes. So check the thread out for more information on The Ladder.
And it looks like week 1 is closed.
Yes, and that was, I can't remember what, the Collaborator is the one that they did for week 1. And this week it is Stealthy Repossession, which is at level 2, and level 3 is the Kobold Assault. That is the 2 for this week. So good luck in Stealthy Repossession. I always skip that.
Yeah, I think if I was doing this, I would just report a 0 and be done with it.
Yep. Sounds like a plan. Also, Body Bew, who was our guest last week, of course, did release her video and song about Permadeath, the Permadeath love song. So you can click over and watch that. She told us about that last week when she was our guest. In the fansite news, DDO Cast had a chat about the forums, and that was their episode 396. So click over and give that a listen. That featured Chai and Saba Jade from the Damsels. Those were the guests on that show. I listened to that show today, as a matter of fact. It was another good episode. Jeff over at DDO Gamer writes about gaming with your kids, and Edric is taken by a Lantern Archon in his new blog post. So go check out what Edric is up to. And Even Note ponders the benefits of guild membership. And that is what's going on with the Chronicle this week.
All right. And it looks like that there is a really hot screenshot there.
Yes, and it's kind of funny. This screenshot
looks very familiar.
It does look really familiar. And you will find out why it looks familiar in a little bit. I kind of laughed because I didn't realize this was the actual screenshot of the week for DDO until I looked at the Chronicle just right now. So that's pretty funny, actually.
Then let's head into our store sales. And is there anything interesting on sale this week?
Quest packs. Or, well, I should say adventure packs.
Adventure packs.
And Quest XP elixirs are 30% off. And I took a look, and it is every quest pack that is available is on sale at 30% off.
Ooh.
So now is a good time for free-to-plays or premiums to pick up those adventure packs. 30% off is a great price. The free sample of the week this week, you can get yourself a bell of opening when you use the coupon code KNCK1. KNCK1.
Looks like someone knocked out the O.
They did. Ooh, I see what you did there, Pine Leaf. Well played, sir. Well played.
Let's go into the site news, and our screenshot of the week will look very familiar if you were looking at the screenshot of the week from the Chronicle.
It's deja vu. It is. Yeah, as I said, I didn't even realize that until I just looked at the Chronicle right there, because I did not even look at the official screenshot. We chose the same screenshot as the official DDO screenshot of the week this week. And it was sent in by Quijan, also known as Deadlock on the forums. He might sound familiar, as he is the player behind the Storm Reach campaign that we talked about last week. He sent this screenshot in. He entitled it, "Traps Are Your Friend."
That doesn't look like a very friendly trap.
Well, it is when you lure the monsters into the trap and set it off.
I guess I'd always assumed that the monsters were immune to the traps.
Most of the time they are, but I have seen, I can't remember what quest I was in, I have seen a trap kill the monster, but I don't know if it was working as intended, though. But no one's going to bug this one. Right, exactly.
Actually, they know about it, though, because of the Chronicle. Yeah, I can't, well, it wasn't this one. I can't remember what quest I was in. But I did happen to notice, because I was running in there, I was doing it on, I think I was on Elite, because there was a champion, and I ran back to get ready to fight him, and when I ran back, I tripped a trap, and the trap actually took the champion out. So I'm pretty sure that was a bug and not working as intended, but I was like, works for me. Just saying. Alright, let's head into our news beyond DDO, and the Range of Demons launch trailer has been posted, and they went for pure epicness on this, what it looks like. They did. This is a pretty amazing trailer that they put together. And of course, the Rage of Demons is the new storyline for Dungeons & Dragons 5e pen and paper. And it's going to be out in a few weeks, but some of your friendly local game stores may have it in stock now if they take part in the pre-release program. So you might be able to pick it up in a local store already, but if not, just a couple weeks it'll be out. So Wizards of the Coast decided to hype things up a little bit with a pretty sweet little trailer. Dare to Descend. The Demon Lords have invaded the Underdark. Get a glimpse of what's in store to the Forgotten Realms with the suite of Rage of Demon products. This, of course, does include the Sword Coast Legends video game, Neverwinter video game, and, of course, the tabletop role-playing game as well. And as Pineleaf said, this trailer is pretty darn epic. And Drizzt does a pretty sweet little swan dive at the end of the video, too. Watch for the swan diving Drizzt. Yes. Now for a much less epic swan dive, apparently Pathfinder Online, what on earth did they do? Nobody's really sure. We haven't really talked about Pathfinder Online much, because, well, actually, we haven't really talked about Pathfinder ever on the site. Of course, Pathfinder is we'll call it the quote-unquote spiritual successor to D&D 3.5. They decided they were going to make a Pathfinder Online MMO. So they did a Kickstarter for it, and they got a ton of money. I mean, a ton of money. And basically, they apparently have went through all of the money they have gotten from their Kickstarter. And the Pazzo CEO, Lisa Stevens, put up a official producer's letter, or I guess it wasn't a producer's letter, it was just a state of the game letter. And she says, quote, "We knew we needed a certain amount of money to finish the build of the game. And we came really darn close, but we just couldn't find the last bit of funding that we needed. So last Friday, we had to lay off most of the staff. I just couldn't pay them anymore. We gave them lots of warning, so they all knew this was coming." And from the digging that I did, it looks like there was actually 3 people left
at the Goblin Works studio, which is the one that was putting this together. The CTO, Mark Clams, the art director, Mike Hines, and designer Bob Settles are all that remain in the studio.
Okay.
And to make matters much worse, on top of firing basically all of your staff but 3, she says Ryan Dackney, who was the CEO of Goblin Works, needed to resign from the company for personal reasons. It had nothing to do with the reasons why everybody else were laid off. And she says they all agreed with him it was the best thing to do for him at the time. So he is now gone as well, and the board of directors have named her, that is Lisa Stevens, as the acting CEO at the time. So they fired everybody but 3 people, and they lost their CEO at the same time. So Goblin Works is hurting right now. She goes on to say, for the past weeks, we have been shopping Pathfinder Online to a number of other game publishers, looking for just the right fit to take the game on and fund it to get it over the finish line. There have been quite a few companies coming out of the woodwork to discuss this with us, and we are in ongoing talks with a number of them about the possibility. More companies enter the fray every day. These kinds of things do take some time, and we are very motivated to see them through as quickly as we can. At any moment, one of these publishers could agree to buy the game, and we could quickly ramp back up to full tilt again. Due to confidentiality, we can't provide information on these negotiations, but rest assured, you will be the first people that know when there is news we can share. This isn't a super rosy picture, but we're not dead yet. And she did say work is continuing on the game with those 3 people that are left.
All right, that is
not looking good for Pathfinder Online right now. So
someone did some miscalculation on the amount of money needed.
I would think so, yeah. I'm not exactly sure what went on, but
yeah, I do know that I remember hearing some people complaining about people who underestimate their goals when they do Kickstarters.
Right, yep.
And yeah,
so we'll see what happens if they can actually pull it out. It sounds like if they can actually find a buyer that they will get it back up and running again, and it will eventually be released. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
So let's head into our weekend DDO. And what were you up to?
My level 16 rogue is still out in the Vale of Twilight. I'm still just doing Slayers, Explorers, and Rares. I have yet to run a quest out there yet, but that's all right. I'm just really enjoying running around, getting a ton of experience just doing the Slayers and the Rares and all of that, and I'm getting some pretty good loot out of the chest for the Rares too. So not a bad thing that I'm not running quest out there quite yet. I'm just soaking in the XP. So that's basically all I did, other than what I did with you, which you will talk about here in a minute. And then I did this weekend on Saturday night. All of my friends got together and we finished the Ravenloft 5e conversion.
Ooh.
And that's all I'm going to say about that.
What? After all, we've been waiting for months to hear this.
Oh, you actually want to know what happened?
Yes.
I see. Oh, how can I put this in a family-friendly, politically correct way? I failed as a DM.
You failed as a DM?
I failed miserably.
What, you failed to tell a compelling story that got their hearts racing?
No, I failed to kill every single one of them off. They finished the module.
What, they killed?
They killed Strahd.
What?
They won. They beat it. They finished. No deaths. Nobody died. Ugh.
That is incredible.
I even threw a mummy lord at them. A mummy lord, pardon me. And they killed it as well.
I'm surprised they got out, because if I remember correctly, last time they were in the middle of a area in the sub-basement that they couldn't get out of.
Yeah, they were like split, and they figured out how to get themselves back together as one party. Before they went back together, the 2 of them were stuck to a chest that would actually turn out to be a mimic. It didn't even kill them. They actually managed to survive that. And then the other 2 that weren't with the other 3 managed to get in the room and just as they had killed the mimic, and then the cleric had to do a spell to actually find them because the room was magic, so they were in the same room, but they were in a different version of the room. So they did that, and then after they got out of that, they needed to go into one of the tombs to get the Tome of Strahd to find out what Strahd's end plans were. And that's when I changed it up and I threw a Mummy Lord at him because I figured for sure I'd at least kill one or two of them. I was trying to kill the cleric, but I didn't manage to kill him. I did manage to give one of them mummy rot, so that was a plus. And then after they got out of that, I had 3 werewolves ambush them out in the hallway. I did manage to give one of them lycanthropy, so I did manage to turn one of them into a werewolf, so that was a plus for me. But nobody died. Nobody freaking died, Pinely. I failed as a DM. I hand my DM card in. But in my defense, I did find out that the conversion to 5e, it needs a little work. I'm hoping they actually release Ravenloft 5e, like, officially, because it will be balanced more. I think that's the only saving grace that they had. It didn't convert well to 5e. Because they lived, exactly.
But I thought that 5e is designed to be a little bit more survivable than 1e.
It is. See, that and that's exactly what I told them. I said, you know what? We play Ravenloft 1e or 2e. I'll kill all you before you even get in the castle. And they said, I'm sure you would.
Yes.
So basically, my friends are all still idiots because they live.
Okay. Now, my question is that, did they survive the Dracolich?
There was no Dracolich. 2 of my friends did say that. Because they said, you know, we would have been dead if there was a Dracolich in here. And I said, yes, you would have. I should have put one in. I thought about throwing a beholder at him. That was going to be my next move, but they actually found Strahd quick. But I tried everything to kill them off. And then I will, in the show notes, I will post when they killed the Mummy Lord, they pretty much knew who they were. I knew they were going to beat Strahd at that point, because if they could take out a Mummy Lord, I know they wouldn't have any problems with Strahd. So one of my friends drew a picture of what Strahd was doing at the time when his Mummy Lord died. And that's all I'll say. I'll include it in the show notes. It is priceless, the picture that my friend drew.
All right.
So, yeah. So that's my sad tale of my players outsmarting me and actually living through Ravenloft.
Oh, so what are you planning to do to them next?
I don't know. I threatened them with Tomb of Horrors. So that might be next.
Well, that at least is pretty much guaranteed to kill them. I mean, if they could get through Tomb of Horrors without getting killed, then I don't know how it's possible to get through Tomb of Horrors with no deaths. Yeah, I just can't, because I remember when I ran Tomb of Horrors, I wasn't even trying to kill the guys, and they managed to find all sorts of creative ways to die. I remember one person who managed to kill 2 characters from the same trap.
And the chat room is loving the story, by the way. Andang says Pineleaf's reaction is audio gold, and we have Evil Pineleaf joining us tonight.
What?
And he says the surprise scream made me chuckle. That was soundbite worthy. Evil Pineleaf is in the chat room, and he's loving your reaction to my tale of my friends living through my dungeon.
All right.
So what did we do this week together on our playthrough, and then what did you do permadeath style? Because I'm sure you ran some permadeath.
Yes. All right. On my Artificer, level 15 with you, we went to the 12 because I wanted to beat a dragon. After what happened to us in that optional giant hold with that dragon who won by a technicality because you have to kill his friend within 8 seconds. Because of that technicality in there, I wanted to go and really kill a dragon, so you took me to the Mired and Kobolds quest, and we killed, All right. The baby dragon, killing the baby dragon, I guess wasn't much of an accomplishment, but surviving and killing mommy was.
Yeah, she was pretty tough.
Now, especially considering that I did not go to the trouble of asking you in advance. Oh, by the way, what type of dragon are we facing so that I could have the right potions?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I think we had just started the fight and we had probably been fighting her for maybe 30 seconds and you're like, wish I would have asked you what type of dragon this was going to be.
Yeah, in fact, I might have been using my acid crossbow during that fight because I think that's my default.
Yeah, I think you did say you were.
Yeah, because sorry, you don't use an acid crossbow against a black dragon.
I think you did mention you were like, this acid crossbow is probably not doing much, huh? I'm like, no, not really.
Oh, well. And I did have at least one other crossbow on me with a different type of thing on. Though I guess I at least was doing normal damage against it.
But the important thing is, did you enjoy finally actually seeing and
I
killing?
enjoyed it. Yeah, finally fighting a dragon and downing the dragon, yes.
And you enjoyed it so much, you wanted to go drink with some beholders, didn't you?
Well, I was caught with a little bit of delirium there.
Ooh, nice, finally. Nice.
Yes, we did ran delirium where we had a drink with beholders, a drink session that didn't go very well in the end, but, well, especially not for the beholders.
Nothing with beholders ever goes well, finally.
Actually, those beholders lasted a lot shorter than I was expecting. I mean, I thought we ripped them to shreds.
Well, yeah, we did kill them pretty quick. We're just that good, Pinely. We're just that good.
All right, well, and then we went to Evening Star, so we switched over to the Realms and Evening Star, and we ran Disciples of Shar. That's something that we had run a long time ago, back when I was running, when Drac had a Shadakar and I had this Purple Knight, I believe it was. No, it was a Cleric. It was the...
Yeah, it was the... you had the Sun Elf...
the Sun Elf
Lord,
Cleric thing, yes, that character. So we went in with that, but it was about halfway through before I said, oh yeah, I very definitely did this quest before, so it's been such a long time that I don't remember any details from the first time we ran it.
But eventually we're going to get to a point where you're doing quests that you haven't done yet.
Oh yes, because I think we only did the first 2, maybe 3 quests in Evening Star with those characters. Before, I think we only did 1 session with them, then we returned to our regular characters.
Right, yeah, and I've done quite a few of them with my Shade Archive, so it will be interesting to see your reaction to some of the quests in there.
All right.
Well, and then once we actually get to the point where it's all new to me, too.
Alright, then on my Permadeath Paladin, I finished up Korthos Village, then ran the Korthos Island quests all the way up to Misery's Peak. Then I went to the harbor, and we ran Dirk's Got a Secret, an Explosive Situation, and then looked into Garrison's Missing Pack. And that finishes up my week.
That is not true, Pineleaf. I heard a rumor.
A rumor?
I heard a rumor about you.
Ooh.
I heard that you were a guest on DDO Cast this past weekend.
Okay, yeah, there is that little deed. I guess I meant that is it for my playing.
Oh, okay. Oh, so I ruined your big moment there? Is that what you're saying?
Well, because I figured that would be discussed when next week we talk about the newest episode of DDO Cast next week.
Oh, okay. So stay tuned next week to hear all about it. Is that what you're saying? You're not even going to let people know? You're just going to leave them hanging?
Okay. Well, we were discussing low-level content because let's face it, what else would I be an expert of in this game? So we were discussing all sorts of things like what quest pack would we recommend, what quests would we avoid, and set 5 other questions I can't remember off the top of my head yet.
And I did see that hit my iTunes today, so that episode is actually available. So.
Yeah, the episode, yes, is available now. I saw a tweet on that post where...
So you can check that out now.
Right, and the thing was with Even Note and with Bonnie Bew. Now, if you would like to help DDO players, you can go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you will find rewards, including a mention on the DDO Players News, or even to be a guest host with us. And we have one featured comment this week from Mock Taskmaster, who left a note on Pathfinder Online laying off almost their entire staff. And what did he say?
He says Paizo had this demoing at Gen Con, so just about a month ago. I didn't go in and see it, and I haven't even thought of trying it until it were to go public, so I had no real thoughts on the game itself. But dedicating a booth space to the MMO a little as a month ago, and now this just seems odd. It also seems like that from what some of the people who did try it said the MMO didn't even use the 3.5 Pathfinder rule set for doing things, which is very odd indeed. Making games from scratch takes a lot of capital. Paizo may have been out of their element. And then he says may equals was and is. So, yeah. Then again, I'm not sure what they were doing with this Pathfinder Online. I think it was just flawed from the beginning.
Right. It sounds like a very massive project. And who did they have working with them? Because Pazio wasn't trying to do this all by themselves, were they?
No, it was actually a studio called Goblin Works.
Ah.
That was actually creating the game, and of course with help from Paizo. But Goblin Works was the company that was actually producing and making the game.
All right. And this week we do not have any emails, but if you would like to email us, you could send it to podcast@ddoplayers.com. You could also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, DDO Players @DDO Draculetta @Draculetta_72, and Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles. And our final thoughts is the Players Alliance has 3 live shows every single week. On Mondays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. Thursdays at 9 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Guild Wars Players News. And on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Lotra Players News. You join us for our live shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And be sure to join us next week where we plan to have our 50th episode, and our special guest will be the Damsels of DDO, Saba Jade, Lessa, and Mithri, plus community manager Cordovan and Bonnie Bew.
That is a lot of guests, finally.
Whee!
That's going to be a crazy, crazy show.
And we'll also have giveaways and more. That is all for tonight, and this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to blast those bugbears.